Well, hello there.
It's the second week of August and I have taken on the most possible wedding work plus 2 markets that I have ever taken on in my entire floristry career. So come along with me for the highest of highs and the lowest of lows as we get through these crazy 5 days together.
So we have 3 weddings, which this year technically is nothing new, but these are the highest value weddings I have done so far. So with all 3 weddings combined, it's about $5,000 worth of weddings. Now, as far as the wedding industry goes, that's like not even that big of a wedding. But for me, who does a la carte, and I'm a small business, that's actually like really, really huge for me. Then we're not done. We have a market on Saturday with the Prairie flower market. And then we have another market on Sunday out at the Weekend Drive out in Lumsden. So it's a crazy, crazy busy week. I'm going to take you along for the journey. Let's go. So it's been a really weird growing season this year. You know, our cool flowers did fantastic because we had the perfect spring for it. But it means that these flowers are kind of suffering. And so normally by this time, we should be like absolutely rolling in flowers. Things should be coming on really well, but it's a little sketchy. The lilies are behind, my zinnias are behind. These 4 zinnias are doing quite well because we're having more of the conditions that I think they're bred in, so they're quite happy. But for typical prairie weather, it's just not what I've expected. So in tomorrow's video, or portion of the video, I'm going to do a more detailed look at what each of the different weddings needs, plus what each of the markets I'm hoping to bring. But just to give you a little overview of what we're looking for. So wedding number 1, we're looking for more oranges and pinks and yellows with a little hint of blue. The bridesmaid dresses, I believe, are rust orange and the groomsmen are navy. This is a really popular color combination this year. And then wedding number 2 is very similar except for no pops of blue, and we're probably leaning a little white, like lighter tones on that one, and maybe a bit darker tones on number 1. And then wedding number 3 is more of a wildflower look. So I have not done a purely wildflower wedding yet, and I'm going to use like wildflower adjacent things like these lemon verbena here. I did sort of a test bouquet today and it looked pretty cool, but I'm really glad I did the test bouquet because the flowers moved a bit differently than I was expecting. So I feel like going into making that bouquet on Friday, I'll be so much better prepared. So enough chit chat. We have so much harvesting to do. Let's get at it. I absolutely hate to be cutting these zinnias this early. I just wanted to wait one more day, but Juliet seems determined to destroy them. So if I'd like them to be alive, I better cut them now. This is a no, madam. So I'm just in my mom's garden. Usually whenever I have a really big order, I like to come and find an excuse to come to Humboldt to see my mom and raid her garden. And I also figured just because I would be so busy this weekend, I really wanted the kids to just be taken care of and have someone to do fun things with them, because I just feel like if I had them at home, they would just be, you know, I just wouldn't be doing anything with them and it wouldn't be as fun for them. So they get to spend time with grandma and mommy gets to work hopefully efficiently. I feel like what I'm filming doesn't accurately convey how beautiful my mom's garden is, but it's just so inspiring. I love it so much here. And anyway, there's lots to harvest, so I better get at it. Well, hello there, and welcome to my office today. So each week, each week this is my office, but this is probably the most flower-filled my office has ever been in my entire florist career. Everything here is a mixture of like wildflowers, stuff from the acreage, stuff from my mom's. We have stuff from Melissa at Backward Blossoms. We have stuff from Monica at 315. And we have stuff. Like, we just have so much stuff. It's honestly a little bit overwhelming. It feels like I don't even know where to start, but start I will. It's gonna be fine. The bride may have this one. So I did up the first bridesmaid bouquet, and this did not come easy. Like, I was looking at all of our buckets down below and thinking to myself, I don't know about this. Like, I put in all the things that the bride and I discussed. She'd come here a few days prior and walk through the gardens with me, and I showed her different colors and was kind of like, yes, no, what's the vision? And after a few tries, I think this is what I've come up with for the vision. But sometimes when a bouquet takes me a while to like get, and then I feel a little, I don't even know what the word for it is. I just like feel not confident, and I want to feel really confident when I'm making everybody's bouquets. So we've brought in reinforcements. We have our chocolate covered treats. We have our diet drink of choice, and I have my laptop, and I will play some electro swing to get this party started, just for me. I'm such a dork. Oh my goodness. So as you're watching this YouTube video, if I'm grooving, it will be to music that is not playing so we don't get copyright striked, but I'll try and find something similar. All right, so let's take this opportunity to talk a little bit about the flowers that we're using. So these are the false spirea. Once they're dried and have done blooming, they're really nice for these rusty kind of boho weddings. Frosty explosion grass, but with all the grass taken off, I think it's just a little more of a 2024 look. I cannot believe that Melissa had some stock still. So we have cream stock, the Horizon sunflowers from Monica. Then, you know, just our basic Rebecca borage for that little hint of blue the bride is wanting. Goldenrod. Then we have two different types of lilies. We have a little bit of snapdragons, and then of course my clover and tarragon. And let us all say a little prayer that this all works out.
morning, YouTube. Wow, it actually feels really cold this morning. You can see the literally freezing sweater has made an appearance. I've never owned a sweater that I feel like summed up life so much. Anyway, I did not finish the whole order last night before Chastity had to go home. And then in the evening, I kind of hoped to do more of the order, but needed to have some family time, do some stuff with my son, pick up more sunnies, and wheel and deal to grab a few more flowers this afternoon from Melissa too. So that was sort of where the evening went, and now it's 7 in the morning, which is not so bad, and I will quickly finish everything up. So Chastity comes back maybe around 9-ish, and then my goal is basically by 9 I should be finished everything, and then we kind of get started on the next wedding. I'm also secretly willing like more of my zinnias and lilies and stuff, and sunflowers. I have so many sunflowers, but like they're just all at that maddening bud stage. We're like, they'll open soon, but they're not ready. Like, I hope I actually have something to sell at this market. But if nothing else, this kind of cool weather means that everything I made last night is still looking pretty pristine. So I guess let's get to it. And with this last little talks bouquet, the order is done. So, that was a big one. But it feels good to be done. Chastity is going to get us some like food to celebrate because this is a lot for us. But just let me show you a few things if I didn't already show you them earlier. So the next wedding to pick up in order is the wildflower wedding. So for that one, I already made a practice bouquet, so I feel pretty confident about what I'm doing. This wedding also is mostly a bucket wedding, so I just have to make a bridal bouquet and then figure out their buckets, and thankfully their color palette is really different than this last wedding that I'm doing, so this will be a nice easy break. Alright, so we are finally on to the third wedding, and this is a pretty big order. I sort of have in my head what I want to do with it, but what I did in the last large order that I really liked was to just do one bridesmaid bouquet and kind of figure out the vibe. And so it was funny because what I originally did the first time I didn't quite like, and then I took it apart and I tweaked it a little bit, and then I finally came up with like what I liked as the final design. So I think I'm gonna do that here and see how it goes. So this is version 1.
bridal bouquet time. So the bride has a few extra little treasures that nobody else has. So we have a couple of dahlias over here. Dahlias have been really slow this year, so like this is a treasure. No one else has this green amaranth. I saved kind of all the Madame Butterfly ones for her, and then the rest here is all pretty much the same. You know, we've got the lilies, the floret zinnias, yarrow, the hot biscuits amaranth, and the horizon sunflowers, and then this beautiful Fama scabiosa. This is actually a perennial here, and when I've seen it in pictures I've been like, yeah, okay, it's fine, but seeing it in real life, I think I need to grow it. So as usual, we say a little prayer and let's see what comes into my hands. I can barely hold this thing. This is ginormous. Okay, so we are working on the big pieces now. Part of the reason why I'm sitting down is because these will be behind the aisles. So I just want to like know that I'm proportionately doing this the right height for a chair and aisle. It's interesting because I got about halfway through these and I felt really overwhelmed. I think I've been feeling that a little bit more and more with doing these larger orders, is sometimes I'll just reach a point where I'm like, oh, I need to play some music, get my creativity back, like don't doubt yourself, I don't know. So I think in that sense I'm really glad that my first career was a musician, because you kind of have these sorts of strategies in your toolkit, because when you're a musician or any sort of creative thing, like you're not going to be on every single day, so you have to know how to like make yourself on or on enough or whatever. But you know, overall I think things are going well, so let's keep going. My last bride just picked up, and so I'm officially done this weekend's weddings. This is the face of a very tired flower farmer, but it's okay, it's okay. So now I'm gonna do the big pieces for the Prairie Flower Market. Honestly, I don't know what I'm selling, like for either the Prairie Flower Market or for the one at Lincoln Gardens, the weekend drive one. I barely have any flowers left. Like there are some flowers left, I don't know. But for me, I guess going to these markets isn't as much about like selling flowers. I mean, yes, obviously I want to sell flowers, but for me, it's more about getting my books out there, maybe booking some wedding work, especially for the one out in Lumsden. Like I really just want to talk to a different audience that has not seen me in person before, maybe doesn't know about me or know about my blog or my YouTube channel or whatever, and just sort of do some outreach that way, like the old-fashioned way. I'm sorry I didn't take any progress pics, but I'll just show you the first of the big pieces, and I've sort of set up my backdrop a little. I don't know, I feel like I'm not very good at decorating. So this could all change by the time you see the end result, but here's what we're going with. So this is the wooden backdrop that Mike made me for markets, and I thought maybe like having the lace there. Well, I need the lace on this side because it hides the fact that there are no slats going across. I made this piece, although now that I'm like looking at it in the camera, I think it needs some white right about there. So we'll fix that in a little bit. And then my idea was that there would be like a bigger piece down below and then some sort of arch so that it would be a place where people could like take selfies or take pictures with their group of friends and, you know, just have it be part of the experience. And then for those who are maybe like having a wedding or might consider me for event work, they can see like I can make some big arrangements. So that's where we're at. Morning, YouTube, or should I say afternoon. I gotta confess, I am procrastinating pretty hard on making today's bouquets. It was a weird day yesterday, you know. On one hand, I made like the favorite piece I think I've ever made in my entire floristry career and had like very happy brides. And on the other hand, I had one order where there was a miscommunication. Colors weren't correct, and I mean, we worked it all out, like it's fine and it's dealt with, but you know, you never want to disappoint anyone, and it's just not a good feeling, and it's hard to like, I don't know, get happy after that. After doing all 3 weddings plus some installation pieces for the market that I'm doing today, I was almost out of flowers, so I bought some more flowers from Allison. And then I also did a pass through the yard this morning, just seeing if there was anything. There's about, actually, let me show you. You know, it's a good solid bucket. So there were a few little miracles, as I like to call them. Let's get arranging. We don't have much time. I like to start off every market by making my biggest piece first, and what I like to call a celebration bouquet. So I'm going to make something that I'm aiming to spend maybe about, or the person will spend about $50 to $60 on, maybe only make 1 or 2, and then everything else will be at cheaper price points. But I like to have something a little pricier just in case someone wants something special. Can we talk for a moment about how lilies are like literally the worst to work with? I hate them now. Every lily must have like a flower surrounding and protecting it, otherwise the petals will break. The first arrangement I did for this, I broke pretty much all of the lilies. I was so angry at like $2.50 a stem, which is a very reasonable price for what it is, don't get me wrong, but it's just like I am wasting $2.50 a stem. And yesterday I had wasted so many that I broke, and I was just like Morning, YouTube. It is just before 6 in the morning, and wow, let me tell you about last night. I took such terrible footage. I don't even know if I took any like horizontally for YouTube, so I'll just put whatever I have here, I guess. Wow, it was such a good turnout. And you know, the 5 of us who had, wait, am I counting? No, 6. The 6 of us who had booths, like we really didn't know what to expect. We were just kind of like throwing this out here, hoping the people would show up and, you know, that we wouldn't all be taking home a ton of flowers. The first hour and a half was just like a crush of people, which is totally what you want. And even better is like people bought from multiple vendors, and we're all selling flowers. And I think for maybe some people who had hesitated about this idea was the thought that like, oh, you know, one vendor would do better than the other or whatever. No, like I would largely say that we all did pretty equally well. Like the only people who were really bringing home stuff just brought more stuff to begin with. Any of the vendors that had less things, like they sold out.
I think within like the first hour and a bit, which is amazing. I'm mostly sold out. I just had 2 main bouquets left, and then I sold most of my little itty bitty bouquets, and I was actually making extras. I like to bring sort of an emergency pail of flowers, and then if that happens, I can at least make a few more things, because it always seems like that last bouquet or the last whatever just like never sells. So then, if your booth's a little more filled out, even if they don't buy your emergency flowers, it just makes the stuff you have left like look a little bit better. And I was really glad that they didn't sell out, because I was able to buy some flowers off of them so that I have something to sell today in Lumsden, because that would be really, really horrible showing up with like, here's 2 bouquets. Like, that's dumb, right? Right. So as for the game plan, I still need to make replacement bouquets this morning. I probably have about an hour to do that. I should be leaving by like 7:30. That still builds in a lot of time for like, if I need to drive slow, I'm probably going to stop in Davidson and like get myself an extra coffee or a muffin or something. I don't know, but that's the plan. We don't have a ton of time, so let's go make some bouquets. So another really good thing about the people who came out was like, these are the flower enthusiasts. I mean, I don't know everyone who came out, but I know some of the people who came to talk to me like are my regulars. These are the people, I see them at Gardenscape, I see them at the Sask Maker Sale, I see them like at any gardening type event, or like they're the lifers, the people who are like really, really obsessed with flowers. So that's a really good sign, like we got the right people, and like the level of excitement and the amount of customers who asked me like, are we doing this again? When is the next one? And they didn't just ask me, like they asked all the other vendors too. So that is like a really, really good sign. All right, I am dressed. I think I cranked out about 10 bouquets, so that's pretty good. Solid going in. I have extra flowers, so I can make extra bouquets. Oh, there's my coffee. I am all packed up, and let's go do this. Hello there, Kristen of the future here again. And I guess I was so exhausted from this weekend that I did not do a recap whatsoever, but I have lots of things to say about it. So first of all, the Lumsden market was fantastic. I'm not really familiar with a lot of the makers down in Regina area, so it was just really nice to meet like a completely different set of makers. There were a few people I did know, and actually I got to sit beside one of them, so that was always really fun when you like kind of your booth mate. So financially, both of the markets actually made sense for me. I think at both of them I made about 500-ish, maybe 700-ish. I feel like it was more like 500 though. About 500-ish dollars. A large part of that was actually the book sales and less the flower sales, especially at the Lumsden market. Maybe it was just because it was kind of the leftovers. The Lumsden market also had a very different vibe. I just found that the people who come there, it's like a steady stream of traffic, but it's not like super busy, where I feel the ones in Saskatoon, it's always like boom, crush of people. And then, after about an hour and a half, it like calms down a little bit. But no, this was just a very steady stream all day, which is kind of cool. So probably the big question that you have on your mind, if you actually watched this entire marathon and stayed with me, is, would I do it again? And why on earth did I take on so much work? Well, it's really funny because at the beginning of 2024, I felt like, okay, I'm not going to do markets. I'm going to obviously increase my weddings, but I'm going to be sensible and pull back. And I just feel like I had the rug pulled out from under me traffic wise. If you follow my social media, you'll know that in September, I just kind of put out a PSA that I wasn't sure if I could continue on with the internet portion of my business. I just find that in my business, sometimes the flower side sort of subsidizes the internet side, and then sometimes the internet side subsidizes the flower side, and it all kind of works out. But then when one of those parts wasn't
wasn't working, I was like, I think I have to make changes and I don't know if I can do this. So, you know, before I made that announcement in September, I did kind of see that writing on the wall. And so I was actively working to not have to like shut anything down. And so I really wanted to make as much money as possible with the flower side of my business, because that's what felt like it was working and was sort of like the easiest to mobilize and make more money for me. So that's why I did the craziness. Would I do it again? You know what? Actually, yes. Maybe not the 2 markets attached, but I feel like I could actually handle that amount of wedding work. Maybe not every single weekend, because we just don't have the flowers to support that every weekend. But I feel like, you know, for the prime August weekends, maybe end of July and like kind of in peony season, I probably could take on that much wedding work. The only thing I would change is I think I would either hire Chastity for like 1 more day, or I would maybe hire another designer, like a freelancer, to help out, just because, you know, I really do need that work-life balance. I cannot be working like from sunrise to sunset on a wedding. Like that's, I have small kids, like it's not going to cut it. And I mean, one thing as I grow in this business that I'm really learning is like, I have to make my business work for me. I cannot always be working in my business or on my business. Anyway, not really here to discuss like tons of that right now, but it's definitely something I want to talk about in a future podcast episode when I finally get that podcast up and running. But no podcast until I finish editing all of this backlog of videos. So again, thanks so much for joining me in this crazy marathon of a video. I am editing as fast as I can, and we will see you in the next one. Bye bye.